the time zones.
Oh man.
It's going to be starting soon, the stream. Alright, we're live now, guys. This is The Diner, episode 4, and we have a couple things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Trump's shit. We have a local...
Trump shit.
We're going to talk about... There's a marijuana bust. But first, let's talk about us, because I think everyone wants to hear about us. Trevor has an internship in D.C. now.
Yay!
Tell us about that internship, Trevor.
So it's for our local congressman, and it's from pretty much till the end of December. So I'll be living over there the whole time.
Well, you're planning on staying there.
Yeah, my goal is to stay there long term, and hopefully do more than just get coffee for people.
Maybe one day, 2036, Trevor for president.
That would be horrible.
I don't know.
The bumper stickers would sell though.
Trevor
those
Nig.
bumper stickers would sell so great.
Trevor Nig, 2036. And Nick here is also going to be gone in January.
That is right. I am moving to England for 6 months, and then afterward, hopefully, I will be in Germany for a further 3. I'm going to be studying at the University of Manchester, mainly history and classics. You know, all those Romans and Greeks and whatnot. And
Maybe pick up some Latin on the way.
Possibly. I mean, it's pretty useless. So
It's not useless. Yeah. Anyways, and I'm gonna be in January or maybe February. I'm going to be in Long Beach as a linguistic major. So I gotta defend Latin there, because I think it's important for science. I think it's important for science people. But anyways, let's start off with the Pat Buchanan thing.
Pat Buchanan, just for clarification.
Okay, whatever.
So
You shouldn't spell his name that way, anyways.
you dyslexic.
So anyway, so Pat Buchanan worked for Nixon, ran for president once. Trump called him a Nazi, then forgot he existed. He's a big.
Enough with exposition.
I was stopping right when you said that.
Oh, good timing.
Perfect. Anyway, he's a big Trump supporter who basically came out and has supported Trump's position, even to a more extreme. Trump claims that if he loses Pennsylvania this election season, it will be only because the polls were rigged. And so he's actually started a program where there will be volunteer poll watchers to make sure the polls are watched, which is, I don't think, legal and I don't think even practical.
That's hilarious.
And when you sign up, it just takes you right to his donor page. So it sounds just like it's going to be donated. Pat Buchanan, though, took it a step further. He has said that if Trump loses the election, it is only because the system is rigged, and that you should respond with an American Spring, which may or may not be peaceful.
Okay,
Actually, he pretty much says that violent revolution would be the case for the American Spring.
I've seen liberals respond to this by pointing out the recount vote during Bush's election in Florida. What do you guys think about that?
There's no more hanging chads. I don't think there's any more voter purges going on.
Well, Gore won Florida.
Yeah, he did, but that's not it's history. We accepted it. We can't change it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just a thing like that happening isn't likely mainly because Hillary's way more ahead. Like, you go on 270 to win and try to make it so that Trump wins the Electoral College. It's pretty much impossible. The best scenario I have is if somehow he pivots really well, a butt ton of scandals come out, he could somehow hit 273.
No,
maybe.
That's why I don't think there's going to be like
there needs to be a terrorist attack on U.S. soil, a massive one, probably at the scale of the Paris attacks last year, or probably even bigger to the scope of a 9/11 type of event,
which hopefully won't happen.
Does not happen. So,
well, at least if it happens, not to us.
Well, I hope it doesn't happen to anybody, but.
Well, specifically not to us.
Classic Josh statement.
Yeah, but Trump's goose is effectively cooked as far as the election goes. He could have what is called a dead cat bounce, in which he rises in the polls towards the election, but with no hope of winning just because he's bottomed out so much. But at this point, he's alienated too many people, and he's done a lot to sabotage his actual base's enthusiasm. So it looks like we are on course for
A Hillary slam dunk.
yes, probably the biggest landslide since 1988. We're right now the average is probably around an Obama '08 victory, probably around like a 7 to 8 point win for Hillary. But the way Trump's campaign is going and the way it's deteriorating, plus the fact that he doesn't really have any mobilizing forces on the ground, he doesn't really have much of a campaign infrastructure and door-to-door volunteers, which is really crucial for getting out the vote. I mean, people underrate these kind of bread and butter tactics, but this is what gets people voting effectively. And
yeah, especially the face-to-face thing.
yeah,
They say most people don't end up seeing a presidential campaign at all. So just seeing one, kind of at least wakes you up to think of voting, especially if you go to areas where you're likely to vote. Trump doesn't even have. There's a big county in Southwest Ohio that's supposed to be like a big get out the vote for Republicans to help, get Ohio a big battleground state. Trump has like nobody there. He has nobody on his Ohio game right now is non-existent, and that's
So-
like a state he doesn't have it.
It's quite possible that Hillary overperforms the polls for these reasons, and we are possibly looking at 400 electoral votes for Hillary, maybe even more, which is essentially unthinkable as recently as a year ago.
Yeah, this is very bizarre for not just Trump, but all over the place.
And the amazing thing is if the Republicans had nominated somebody like Marco Rubio or John Kasich or even a Jeb Bush,
Jeb Bush was fat though. Who wants him?
they would be leading though.
I got Kasich, man.
Rubio had a positive, or at least 50-50 favorability rating, whereas Hillary is still underwater by about 9 or 10 points, which is it's gone up since the convention, but it's still
Who
not so
decided that they like Hillary now?
dude. People watch these conventions, they see groups of people that they like go out and do a full-throated defense of somebody that they're like kind of on the fence about, and just they see all these celebration for a figure, and it's not really that difficult for people to change their mind just like that. A lot of people are fickle.
Yeah, they say a slight majority now of Hillary supporters are actually voting because they like her. Trump is still in the negative.
I wouldn't want to hang out with those people.
Yeah, I mean, we've had. When's the last time we had? Nobody wanted to hang out with Bush Senior. He won.
Romney. Nobody wanted to hang out with Romney. Romney had a chance 3 weeks out, but lost.
You could have a beer with Romney.
No, you can't.
He's Mormon.
I mean, there doesn't say anything specifically about beer for Mormonism. It just says don't have a vice.
Yeah, but they've that's how they've interpreted it, and
No,
he's pretty.
Maybe maybe he interprets it that way too.
Oh.
Does he?
No, he's not like Huntsman.
Yeah, so he could interpret it differently.
No, I'm saying he supposedly is
Romney
more.
does not drink. Huntsman does though.
Yeah, Huntsman is the other major Mormon politician. He's kind of down the wayside because he's too moderate for the GOP.
Yeah, but this might be one of the elections like both candidates you generally don't really want to hang out with. I mean, there might have been a time where it's like, oh, it would be fun to hang out with Donald Trump. Definitely not now.
I never really thought I would want to hang out with Donald Trump. I never was like, yeah, he'd be a lot of fun. I didn't think that.
No, but plenty of people did.
Yeah,
Crazy old people.
Yeah, the thing with Trump going towards the election, like what it's looking like right now, is every time he tries to make a pivot, like give a big economic speech or try to tone down something.
Or he pivots the wrong way.
Oh,
Yeah,
Pat
he
quoted
instantly
John
flips.
F. Kennedy in his article.
Oh yeah, the Pat Buchanan.
Those who make peaceful resolutions impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Conservatives have this kind of unique liking of Kennedy now because Kennedy wanted to do a massive tax increase, or not tax spending increase. But before that, he did a giant tax cut because Eisenhower kept so much of the high World War II taxes. Kennedy was trying to use Keynesian economics by doing a tax cut and then do high spending, but he couldn't obviously do the high spending later on because of his death. So a lot of conservatives are like, oh, well, you know, Kennedy did a tax cut that was like one of the biggest ever.
And he's also a war hero and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, he would totally side with us on all these social issues and stuff. And
Which
it's like,
isn't the case at all. Plus, conservatives have effectively rewritten what their social stances in the 1960s were.
yeah, yeah. So it's like,
The Republicans.
He
in the
ends his article on a really
1960s
funny note. And the new protesters in the streets will not be overprivileged children from Ivy League campuses.
The protesters in the streets aren't over.
yeah, they don't.
What?
Yeah,
That's
they,
stupid.
He's saying the new protesters won't be that.
I know, but they aren't now. I mean,
Well,
there
yeah,
might be a
no
few
shit,
that
they
are,
weren't.
But
yeah, that generation's long gone. It's too competitive.
Seems like both sides always try to say the other side has more privilege.
Yeah.
that's
but
that's
it's also-
that's more of a new development.
You started on a higher ring of the ladder.
That's kind of the way the rhetoric is being framed is a newer development, though,
Mm-hmm.
because like in the 60s, leftists generally speaking weren't talking so much about privilege as they were talking about actual like social ills in society and trying to correct them. Leftists more today, I mean, they might get into abstract conversations about that,
I think both sides frame it differently.
but the right wing has always seen left-wing activists as petulant children.
Yeah, the conservatives, they frame the privilege as in their lives more comfortable and easier, so they're spoiled, while the other side frames it where they got institutional power.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they are. Usually they are the institution, so
Yeah,
that's probably where it comes from.
I hate arguments like that.
I hate when they, yeah.
You're not allowed to have this opinion because you were born into this position that you can't help.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I mean, it gets people stuck. And then
There's
the
more of a
conversations-
threatening kind of ending, too, though. He's like, these protesters are actually going to do shit.
Well, I mean, he also wrote. There was also on Breitbart, big conservative website. Their front page was Trump was right about his Second Amendment statements about how only Second Amendment people can stop Hillary.
Oh, that
So
was
apparently
funny.
Trump is starting something.
That was
He's
so
opened a
funny.
Pandora's box that he's.
I like that.
he's,
It's-
he's effectively normalizing violence.
It's so obvious what he's saying, but he leaves just enough doubt where there's people going, well, I don't think
No,
he meant that.
those people are idiots.
I don't think he meant that.
No,
Yeah.
here's
He
the,
just misspoke.
here's the funny thing though. Trump voters will always say, I love Trump because he says exactly what he means. And then Trump says, you should kill my opponent. And then they say, no, he didn't mean that. He didn't mean
He was
that.
sarcastic.
He was being sarcastic. It's
It's
like,
just it's like this guy needs to relearn what sarcasm is,
no.
or come up with a better excuse. That's not even like.
if you go through like
The misspoke thing is the only way you can go about that.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say
so if you go
that.
through Occam's razor and you talk about
Occam's razor.
Occam's razor, sorry. I've only read it. If you go through that and you operate based on what premise is true based on the least amount of assumptions you can make on it, what sounds more likely to you? That Trump was implying that the Second Amendment could be used to neutralize Hillary through physical violence, or that he really thinks that the Second Amendment people should wage a strong, vigorous public campaign in order to shut them down and to continue doing what the NRA has been doing, which is block gun legislation.
The second one for sure. Well, I mean,
No,
right?
I think
they're already doing that, right?
it's the first one.
No way.
Why
Yeah,
would he
I
tell?
think-
Why would he
I
tell them
think
to
Trump
continue
He
to?
cares a
Trump
lot
was
about
definitely
administration and
joking.
legislation, and he has built a strong infrastructure in that regard. So I think the only possible thing that you can think of is He's just trying to
Trump
push him to
was,
be more
Trump was
active.
definitely joking.
You're good, John.
Trump was definitely joking about them killing his opponent. And he might have realized right after that what he had just said.
Maybe he's
He
just
was
trying to appease
definitely
his crazy fan base.
Giving it off.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is his crazy fans, he doesn't really need to give any more red meat to them now. They're on his side perpetually till the end of time.
Yeah.
He has created a personality cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His personality cult will probably survive the election. And that's why I think
Hey, it might last as long as Ron Paul's cult of personality.
well, that cult's dead.
Yeah, there's still some.
There's
Ron
still
Pauls.
Reagan's.
Reagan's cult's around, but that cult's a lot weaker than it used to be.
I know some Ron Paul supporters. It's just Ron Paul didn't run this year.
No. Ron Paul's son ran this year.
Did
and
he?
Rand Paul was supposed to take up.
Well, no one
The
gives a shit about his
Pauls-
son. Who ever gives a shit?
No.
about
The Paulites were very vocally in favor of his son. It's just Trump came out of nowhere.
I'm waiting for his next son. I don't like this one.
Trump came out of nowhere and stole all the people that were pretending to be libertarians.
Yeah.
Ultimately, a lot of these people were just anti-establishment people. A lot of the Ron Paul people also went to Sanders because they just want a principled politician. They don't want somebody with a specific ideology.
I've heard some Sanders supporters going out, I'd rather just get anybody except people from the system, like a constitutionalist or something.
That's hilarious.
It's
That's
like,
so
just because
stupid.
just because you don't like the current institution doesn't mean a shittier version of that is a good idea.
I don't know why the libertarians don't focus more on down ballot, especially states like California with the open primary system. They could come in second in a bunch of conservative districts, and then all the moderates will have to pick between a Republican or a Libertarian. And then it's like, oh, well, I don't like the system. I'll vote Libertarian. They could win a couple seats that way.
Yeah.
Some businessman that happens to live in some super.
And there's lots of
rural
people who
Republican-
feel
They
strong.
must have some fundraising issues. That is
Yeah.
my theory.
Yeah, they're probably super anti-super.
And they could
Also,
probably.
think of the people that are activists in the libertarian parties. They're fucking weirdos. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, finding one who lives in a district that's competitive has got to be like,
Did you ever watch the debates for the libertarians?
oh
No.
God, no. That's
Half of the candidates look like child molesters. Like, I wouldn't trust my teenage daughter.
Hey, have you seen Gary Johnson though? That guy is a good-looking dude.
What?
Gary Johnson.
he
What?
looks like a politician.
Gary
Gary
Johnson
Johnson looks like a generic suburban dad. He
I
doesn't
know
look
he's a
normal guy.
good-looking dude, man. He's like the boy next door, except like 70.
And also the fact that he smokes weed every single day.
His last job was as
You see
CEO
him
of a
with
cannabis
that picture
corporation.
with him riding a bike?
But you know what? Gary Johnson is pretty cool. Gary Johnson is very athletic. Gary Johnson is hiked Everest.
Nice.
Yeah.
I heard something bad happened and he finished it anyways.
I don't remember. I feel like I knew that at one point, though.
But yeah, let's see.
Gary Johnson's awesome, man.
Since we mentioned the former CEO of a cannabis company, you want to move on quickly to our
Oh yeah,
story?
in a local story.
Yeah, we got a reporter on the scene even.
Oh yeah, because there was a massive marijuana grow busted in the area that we live. So if you guys want to find us, hang out with us. We're in Livermore.
Great, good luck finding us.
But basically, this happened over the course of a week. We were riding in our area. Well, I was specifically, and they closed off the entire perimeter. But there's a creek that leads to our park, and I was playing Pokemon Go, So I went down that creek with my little brother, and we rode into the perimeter that they closed off. They just didn't have that area closed off. They didn't think about it, and they were fully armored. They had assault rifles. They were on this house. And I didn't even really notice because I was trying to catch a Pokemon, but my brother was like, hey, Josh, they got assault rifles out. I was like, oh, that's cool. I wonder what's going on. And then one of the officers was like, what are you guys doing here? I was like, I'm playing Pokemon. And he's like, get out. I was like, fine, whatever, man. And then I left. I was like, which way? I was like, before I left, I said, which way do you want me to leave? You want me to leave that way or this way? I got no response. Police officers aren't very considerate. So I left that way. And then we went to the Elks Lodge. This is another area in my town, so you can really find me now. Because I don't, I just say names. But they had the dogs out. Like I got the gym, and all of a sudden, I left the area, and then they pull up to the Elks Lodge, and they got dogs out. My brother's like, oh, they brought the dogs out. He's like, I wonder what those are for. He's like, I bet they're training the dogs right now. I looked at my brother, I was like, Jacob, that makes Why would they train the dogs at 11 at night at a fucking place like this? I was like, that. They're obviously not doing that. And then another day later, they had another area closed off, and they basically had the same thing. I didn't get into the perimeter that time. I wasn't really trying the first time. And I also noticed 3 or 4 abandoned cars at my local gym. So that's all. That last one's circumstantial, but I feel like everything's connected. There was a lot of the cops were pretty active over the last 4 days. Not in those 4 days,
Yeah,
and they're not very active in Livermore because we're just a boring old town where no one really does anything. I mean, the worst thing we
Small
have
town
now is
America.
marijuana. So
yeah. And there's a road in Livermore that kind of leads down to like a small lake, and there's a lot of really sketchy like rural lots of a couple hundred acres. One person actually managed to grow like tons of marijuana. I think they had 100 pounds picked already.
yep, investigators recovered 100 pounds of processed marijuana, 2 firearms, and more than 15K in cash.
Yeah, they also had they were trying to make a system to get more cannabis oil for vape, I think. This is some other article I was reading. And because they were using water from a well, they were contaminating the other local people in their area's wells, and that's I think how a lot of them got caught. Or they were doing a lot of undercover stuff, working trying to go through the dealer networks.
Some of the plants were more than 9 feet tall and 6 feet wide.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, there's a huge amount of land out there. You could easily grow tons out there. Like the land out there is not worth anything.
Oh, they
There's a-
found the marijuana at oil extraction lab.
Yeah, like I said, they're trying to make cannabis oil. I guess suppress into edibles or vape. I don't know. I don't smoke, so.
They discovered more than 20 violations of environmental crimes. I bet some of those are just slapped on just to make sure they really hit them in the
Yeah, 'cause
prosecution.
it's an illegal activity, so I mean.
They always slap on as many things
Yeah,
as
I think there's like
possible.
$1 million in fines they're facing and stuff. So they're gonna have to like sell their whole like 200-acre lot basically just to cover it.
I would just try to flee the country. Get bail and get a boat and leave.
Yeah.
What's the punishment? Like, what's the time in jail for being?
I think they just.
This isn't a civil court case. This is.
I don't know how long, but it's probably several years.
For
Like a
drug bust?
yeah for a pot drug bust. What would be the jail time on that?
We really got to
Actually,
stop
sure.
that evil cannabis trade.
Yeah, it's funny because it might become recreational at the end of the year. They could have just opened up, waited a year. They could have be totally legal.
No, they gotta get that money before it's.
Yeah, before it's
made.
dried up, man.
Don't legalize it.
It's always these people who get greedy that get caught. You know, they have a good system in place. I bet they were making tons of money before that, and they just wanted to make as much as possible.
Oh yeah, they could have got away with like one. If they did one tree, I bet they could have for one tall 9-foot plant. They could have got away with a lot more.
Like that guy in the
Longer.
80s who discovered how to hack parking meters and have quarters whenever he wanted. The only reason he got caught was because eventually he had like $2 million worth of quarters in his apartment.
That
Because
guy.
like he could have just waited. Like anytime he needed something, he could have just got some parking meter money. But no, he just had to get fucking $2 million.
Wow, that's
It's like you're smart enough to hack the parking meters and have a free sandwich whenever you want. But, so they just ruin it for themselves.
wow.
Yeah, so, but do you want to consistently be hacking parking meters, or you just want to have a stash of quarters?
$1 million.
It's
Don't
not like
let
you
the
could just
stash
take
of
$2 million
quarters.
worth of quarters to the bank.
How could you even store 2 million quarters? Like,
I
how
know,
do you
that's probably
build
why
that
he
up
got
every
caught.
time?
Dude, I bet that guy should just drive around a car, those coin op things. But yeah, you want to move on to the Russian story?
He rolls up to buy a new car, pays
Yeah.
$1,000 worth of quarters.
Yeah, I don't think.
Fuck, I'm short 5 quarters. Hold on, I'm gonna go hit that parking meter up.
Yeah, I think you should have planned
I'll
how
go
to.
buy a lotto ticket. I gotta go hit that parking meter up.
Yeah, you should have figured out how to monetize. You should have found like some random liquor store where they would never catch him and just buy a bunch of crap in quarters.
Dude, he could have just bought
should
a
have
liquor
bought-
store.
A car wash.
Oh, you going to break it down?
And
Yes.
launder the money through the car wash.
Oh, it's got all he's got.
People use quarters, right? He could have just charged quarters.
This was the '80s too. A quarter could get you a lot.
Yeah, he could have gone to the
$2 million
movies.
worth of quarters back then is like what, $8 million, $7
Yeah, I
million?
think so. Yeah, so he could have easily like just filtered it through. I mean, people used quarters back then a lot more.
Yeah,
Man.
exactly. All right, we can move on to the Russian story.
Yeah, so because the Russian story
I have an article for that
is
one though.
yeah, well, because Russia Today and a lot of pro-Russian media kind of managed to get into Google News because it's still kind of recent.
Wait, can we just talk about the fact that a lot of conservatives follow Russia Today because they think it's like accurate news reflecting the world as it really
When
is.
my parents had a really big cable package, I watched it once. It
I watched Russia Today
it
all the time.
sounds like leftist group to me.
What's their slogan? they have a
The
slogan?
voice of Russia, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, it's
That's
literally
pretty good.
like Russian propaganda. The thing is, propaganda is a lot more sophisticated today. I've watched China's television in English, and it doesn't come across as like Cold War era propaganda. They know how to be sophisticated.
They can't be cartoony about it anymore.
They can be pretty subtle about it.
Yeah, they can get. They
We
know
still have some cartoony
Actually,
stuff like Fox News always
that's-
claiming fair and balanced.
I was
fair and
about to say
balanced.
that Fox News is pretty funny because it's like that's obviously propaganda slated towards a certain viewpoint, and
their slogan is fair and balanced, fair and balanced.
yeah, when it obviously isn't. Nobody who watches it that isn't delusional thinks it actually is.
Yeah, we all watch our news in a slant. We all look for our slant of the news.
Well,
But now everyone tries to advertise it as fair and balanced.
But a lot
Yeah.
of Republicans and conservative types now watch Fox News as the news and
Fair and
go for
balanced.
their conservative news.
My stats
elsewhere.
teacher
Yeah.
said he likes Fox News. Very
Oh yeah,
old dude.
Dolan.
My family watches Fox News.
It's funny because he was using Fox News he was using it to show examples of bad charts. Because Fox News did that, and he's like, "Yeah, this is a thing that Fox News does. They have misleading charts, or numbers are faulty, blah blah blah." He's like, "But I'm not trashing Fox News. I like them."
Yeah, like
Actually, you know what? CNN fucks up their charts even more though.
yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty. They need to
We're
get
pretty
the shark
shitty with
out.
our news media.
Yeah, unlike the BBC, best news source ever.
I don't know anything about the BBC.
I don't know. I generally prefer.
Fuck the British.
I generally prefer.
They're almost as
outside
bad as-
news sources or just using the internet.
Yeah.
TV news as a medium is very inefficient. I don't want to listen to people talk about things.
Unless they're entertaining.
Exactly, which is why we're doing this podcast.
No,
I want to read when I'm going for
I want to hear funny regurgitations of the news.
yes,
That's what
or I
we're
want
here
to
for.
learn about, or I want to read about it because it's
Yeah.
more efficient to do so that way.
Yeah, like sitting through a whole interview, unless it's like a crazy interview, there's no point. Yeah, it's not efficient timing.
What do you guys think our old English teacher would say about the news?
Mr. Parr.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Parr hates the internet, but he also hates TV news.
Yeah.
Mr. Parr uses
What's he get? Where he gets his? Because I feel like he's interested in
newspapers
news.
and online sources. But Mr.
Oh yeah,
Parr,
he's a journalist.
Newspapers,
Mr. Parr
retro.
tries to stay away from blogs, but he does read blogs. As far as I know.
But yeah, back to the Russia story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Russians have been hacking very hardcore recently. They released the phone numbers of almost all of the
No,
Democratic congressional members. Pelosi got apparently a very profane phone call and will not disclose how it was, but has described it in very obtuse language to imply that somebody said very horrible things.
Oh man.
And so she told everybody in Congress to switch their phone number.
All internet
A
personalities.
lot of people are arguing.
Except
There's a debate going on right now that Putin is pro-Trump and is trying to use these hacks to slant towards Trump. In their defense, they also took some old Michelle Bachmann 2012 stuff and they hacked it to Graham and McCain, who have said anti-Putin views.
And also anti-Trump stuff.
Yes. So it's evidence. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that actually supports it more, but the theory more. But yeah, it's just all over the place. There's talk of doing additional embargoes. The DNC's really clamped down and trying to get like a new cybersecurity force, and pretty much a lot of intelligence is now in trying to figure out how to stop the Russians from trying to interfere in our election.
So since they're like our biggest rival, Russia. So them siding with the Republicans just feels
very
like
weird.
feels like they think the Republicans are worse for our country.
Because they are.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, two arguments. Russia and China's governments tend to be more pro-Republican just because their leaders won't try to talk about human rights as much.
So you think they're
Republicans
just
tend
trying to get us on the same page then?
yeah, they'd rather talk about free trade or some economic stuff. So historically, they've liked more Republicans, and Nixon opened up China and the Soviet Union.
Republicans
So-
are also much less popular amongst global populations worldwide.
Yeah, but I'm saying in those two governments, they tend to be more popular.
Yes, but it helps their perceptions by having an American government that's distrusted by the hearts and minds of other countries' citizens.
Well, I
I've
mean,
actually heard about
from
Russian propaganda still affecting how they act in everyday life, like about Americans, where they made the American smile, how it's deceiving, deceptive, and they're gonna backstab you, like
Oh.
80s propaganda stuff or before the 80s. I don't remember the time
It's
frame.
pretty funny.
So they don't smile as much because it comes off as disingenuous to them because
Yeah.
of the propaganda.
I mean, Trump's made statements that very clearly come across as if he just mystically became pro-Putin. We recently found out that Trump's team did very little to change the RNC platform, but they removed statements saying that the U.S. should give Ukraine more weapons, and he's made statements that's kind of implied that he's okay with Crimea being owned by Russia.
Or just completely not acknowledging the fact that Russia
He's probably trading with Russia.
Yeah, he isn't. Oh, and
Comrade Trump might be one of my favorite conspiracy theories.
and comically enough, he called Ukraine the Ukraine, which is politically insensitive to Ukrainians because it implies that they're not a country; they're just some geographic place.
You know, is Trump going to stay relevant at all in the political sphere once this election is over?
We don't know, but I imagine so.
Yeah, I mean the thing is he's in it for his brand.
The
So
thing
I'm
is
assuming-
Trump. I think Trump is sufficiently
I can see him
by
being
claiming that it's
relevant
rigged.
in the business world, but like, are we like? He's not going to run again, ever?
Well, we don't know that.
I mean, we don't know how crazy he
Well,
is.
we
don't know how deep the rabbit hole is.
There's no way he can win another nomination. This is like bullshit luck, right?
But here's the thing though, is like we didn't think he'd be able to win. Well, we thought he'd be able to win.
Yeah, we predicted it.
We predicted it. Fuck everybody else.
It's 'cause
we
you
knew
get-
this was happening a year ago.
You know, sports, man. It's just like politics. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
I was listening to the first debate, and I knew when Trump raised his hand when they asked that first question, he was going to be the nominee. That is the moment I knew.
I knew he was going to win the nomination the moment that he insulted John McCain and said he wasn't a war hero.
That was so funny. Then he
And
backtracked.
said, I like people who don't get captured, refused to back off it, and nobody gave a shit.
No, he backtracked. He backtracked eventually. He said, if you go back and listen to the tape, I said he is a war hero. But when you go back, he was obviously being sarcastic.
Exactly.
He's like, I said he is a war hero.
Sarcasm doesn't work for him because he either uses it against him or he just doesn't use it.
But, I mean,
He just has really
Let's put it this
sophisticated
way.
sarcasm.
I don't think Trump will win the nomination in 2020. However, there is some sort of weird universe where he has built up such a personality cult and such a following.
But like half of them will be dead by then. They're all old, crazy people.
Not necessarily. You have the alt-right.
You have younger, yeah, but I mean, we haven't seen any statistics that says like the
But
alt-right
there's
big.
but a lot of Trump's support isn't actually the old people. It's the people that are
Oh,
in their
for the
50s,
primaries.
40s,
Right.
and 50s.
Yeah, because the
So a lot of
primaries.
the older people were more slanted towards Bush and Rubio and the more
And Kasich probably, right?
yeah.
That's
they-
got to be pretty trippy
yeah.
because young people tend to vote really heavily Democrat,
Well,
and Trump's.
young Republicans are an irrelevant demographic at this point.
Yeah, but the fact that
They're
the
a monolith.
But the fact that there's a big of those people, they're big Trump people like Milo.
Well, Milo's building a following.
Milo
but
Yiannopoulos. God, that guy,
let's put it this way.
he
though.
is so fun to listen to.
Polls were saying that
He's
Trump.
got such a silky voice.
He does have a silky voice. But polls were saying that Trump was getting about 16% of the youth vote in, I think it was, I can't remember if this, I think this was nationwide. It might have been statewide, but I'm pretty sure this was nationwide. Whereas Rubio was getting the bulk of it, Kasich was getting a lot of support for it, even Cruz was getting in the high 20s of the youth vote. So there aren't a lot of young Trumplicans, but
Internet mod makes him
the
seem
internet
bigger.
makes them seem more powerful, and they could have grown in numbers since then. However, I mean, I don't think Trump will get the nomination 2020. I also think that predicting this far out for that election is essentially useless, considering that 4 years ago we were predicting an Andrew Cuomo versus Marco Rubio or Chris Christie election. So
And that
Chris Christie's fat. Fuck him.
yeah, well, it's essentially we don't know.
Yeah.
we can
Chris Christie's
get
too
some.
ugly to be president
well, the
nowadays.
point is 4
Chris
years.
Christie was actually leading Obama in polls in 2012, but chose not
Really?
to run. Yeah,
Yeah,
Chris-
Chris Christie.
yeah,
totally,
but I mean, on the there's
Chris
always
Christie
polls
had
like that
his
that come
moment
out
in
and
the
don't
sun.
work though.
Chris Christie in 2010, 2011 was the biggest Republican star in the country. He was absolutely a future contender for president.
Yeah, although I don't think it would have been a huge change.
Yeah,
So most people
I think it's
saw his
just-
face.
Yeah, because also once you run, you go down because then people start learning more about you, and people would learn more about what it's like being
I
governor
think
of New Jersey.
Christie could have beat Romney.
Well, oh, okay. I meant the general.
I don't think he could have beaten Obama. Well,
What?
I don't know about that. He could have beaten Obama.
Romney
but I
could
don't think
Romney
he
could have beat
does.
Obama.
What?
Romney could have beaten Obama.
Yeah.
I mean-
A moderate Republican could have beaten Obama.
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
a quote unquote moderate Republican could have beaten Obama.
it just didn't happen.
It didn't happen because
So I don't think Chris
Obama
would
had
change.
the best campaign organization of all time.
Yeah.
And the GOP decided to shoot itself in the foot.
Yeah,
like it
Hillary
usually does.
still has a huge outreach. I didn't read much of it past the first few sentences, but apparently Tim Kaine's working on a get out the vote, kind of reaching out to more Asian voters
Perfect.
who
That's
don't
great.
historically
How
live in.
do Asian voters vote?
So
usually?
interestingly enough, they're the hardest to predict because of the past 20 years have shifted a lot. So there used to be a lot more proportionally Vietnamese and Filipinos who were more like they moved from Vietnam or Philippines during the Cold War,
Mhm.
and so they were a lot more, and they were also a lot more religious,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so they tended to vote more Republican. Like I think actually Asians majoritarily voted Republican in the early 90s. I
That's
think.
like
did.
another
They did.
age
And then they
thing, right?
That's why Hawaii voted for Republicans.
And then it's flipped. I think Obama got 71%, and Hillary's projected to get
Well,
almost 80.
Here's the thing.
Asians probably have the
George
biggest.
W. Bush alienated a lot of the secular Asians by trumping up the religious and
Oh yeah,
values.
yeah. That's the thing. You can't try to make, except for a certain portion of Asian voters. I mean, there's not a huge amount of studies on this. This is kind of
It's generally a neglected part of the electoral
yeah,
demographic.
because unfortunately for Asians, they
They're
happen
such
to
a
live.
big minority too.
Well, it's because they live in California, New York.
they live in
Right.
states
They
where
don't
they're
live in
kind of irrelevant.
If
so.
like the Laotian population of Iowa mystically quadrupled, Laotians would be a huge deal, and people would like court
How
them.
many Laotians live in Iowa?
I met a Laotian from Iowa. Shout out to
So
her.
at least one. We can.
No, like she
So
said,
you
there.
got 4 whole voters.
No, like she mentioned, there's a town that's known for it. Like like there's a lot of Somalians in like Columbus and Minneapolis.
Uh-huh.
It's like that. It's like there might be 10,000 or something.
Right.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But,
So like, yeah,
but the Bush's evangelical Christianity really turned off a lot of them. There are a lot of evangelical Asians, and that's essentially why there are many that vote Republican, especially in the Korean population,
yeah. But on the flip
But-
side, they almost majority live in areas like LA that are
where
very
it's
heavily.
completely irrelevant.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also so heavily Democrat, it ends up moving a lot of those people to just be apolitical or not vote, which is another reason they're not
But
talked about.
The
is,
Republicans could win the Asian vote if they kind of ditched the social issues and went a lot more towards, well, at least in a vacuum. We don't know about this now, but if they did focused a lot more on the economic conservatism, but they probably still have to ditch the tax cuts for the upper brackets because that's just not a winner now.
yeah,
But a Republican Party could win Asians.
yeah, it's a very diverse group that doesn't have high voter turnout, that only lives in very safe states.
Mhm.
So there's not being talked about. There's a pretty good population, I think, now in a lot of the urban parts of Texas, with a lot of like medical and a lot of like sciencey related jobs and all kinds of immigrants choosing to move to Texas for cheap housing, whatever factors are pushing that. So if Texas, if somebody thinks Texas is a battleground
If
state,
Texas becomes a battleground state,
I said if somebody thinks Texas is a battleground state, there's a big difference.
Just import
If
Asians
some
there and make
if
it
some,
a
if some
battleground
if some Democrats think that Texas is a battleground state and compete heavily, a Republican could try to do the balance for it. But Hispanics are bigger there, so
if the Democrats
try
are
to
ever
put that
competitive
more.
with Texas, we're a one-party state.
yeah. again, it's not anything that's going to happen down the road.
It could be a strategy. Like everyone from New York, like, hey, half of us, let's move to Texas.
Well, that's the conservative conspiracy theory as to why immigration reform is happening in order to solidify states like Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada, Texas, and make them open to democratic politics so they can have.
Yeah, it's not a
Law
bad
for-
strategy. They're
It's
just giving a
also-
good strategy away.
No party in America is that smart. That's a
Yeah,
problem.
I mean,
with
that
every,
would be.
that's a problem.
That's how
with every,
we took Texas in the first place. We just stayed there.
That's pretty funny.
That's
actually.
really funny. I never thought of
But
that.
of course, the
Again, the Texans were more coincidental. A party planning that out, it's not gonna happen. I mean, like Colorado. I mean,
I'll be down.
it's
for
not
that.
going to be.
Colorado-
It changed for a lot of other reasons. It wasn't
Colorado
just.
had a lot of.
I'm sure someone
Right.
thought about trying that. They just
It's-
didn't have the means or
I mean,
power
it's
to
like
do
how-
that.
Well, historically speaking, the Republicans divided up the West. The reason why there are so many random bullshit Western states like North Dakota and Montana and Wyoming and whatnot is because the Republicans wanted a bunch of extra senators. Because population-wise, they really couldn't justify it, but they divided up as much as possible so they could have as much power in the Senate as they could.
Well, that reminds me in
Which
middle
is
school.
funny because
when
it kept going.
Yeah.
the teacher. Nah, you know what? The story that I don't even really remember what happened, but the teacher asked me how states are made, and I just said people just decide their states. And
That's nothing wrong about that.
she
Yeah, that's-
she hated that. And she thought I was being a smartass.
That's kind of how it works.
I was
there's
like,
a-
how else do you decide something as a
You
state?
need to hit a population threshold.
That's
and
pretty
then
much-
you choose your.
I was like,
your
people
state.
just show up there and they decide lines.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is get like what 50,000, and then basically have
50,000,
and
yeah.
basically create some form of government that the federal government can recognize.
Yeah.
Mm.
You have to organize your territory. That's
Yeah.
obviously irrelevant now, because
Yeah, we made the Mormons be like, no, you can't. You gotta take out some of the theoretic elements of your state. You gotta.
yeah, they actually had their own separate political parties before they joined the union.
They did?
They had a two-party state. Yeah, more pro LDS and more pro miners, because a lot of silver miners moved to the Utah area and they were not Mormon because they're just random people.
Rocky Mountain State.
Yeah.
But as far as Colorado goes, Colorado's trend towards the Democrats. I mean, that would have happened whether or not you had Republicans shooting themselves in the foot for the past 10 years.
Yeah. It's
Like
just,
the thing is, there's a lot of people from California that are moving there. There's the rent. A lot of people from other states such as Oregon and New York. Denver is a cool hip city to live in. Plus, with the increasing Hispanic
You
population,
just put that in air quotes like it's not a cool hip city to live in.
I don't know why I did that. Denver's awesome.
yeah,
You know what? I'd forgive me, people from Denver. Denver's a great.
yeah, Denver's
city.
great. Their governor is a
No, it's not.
the
Fuck the
governor
Broncos.
of Colorado is a former brewer. Opened the first brew pub in Colorado.
Huh.
Very interesting.
But
I mean, that's what happened.
Denver,
to,
Colorado, 10 years from now, could be voting like California.
I mean, that's what happened to Vermont. A bunch of New Yorkers just wanted to move to somewhere like cheaper and cooler, so they moved
Vermont,
to Burlington,
The funny
and then they
thing
voted for
is,
Sanders.
the funny thing is, Vermont, historically speaking, before 30, 40 years ago, is like the most Republican state.
Yeah, I mean, when you thought of New England back in the day, you thought these people
Thought
just
Republicans.
you thought
That's funny
you
because I don't
thought
think that at all now.
yeah,
it's-
you think
things
of
change.
you thought of Yankee anti-tax Republicans, like they weren't big on all the other stuff. They're just like, we hate the government. That's why we fought the revolution.
Those people are still around in small numbers.
Yeah, I mean that's why New Hampshire has like a
I
state
mean, they're still flat
legislator.
earthers.
Like that's why
Well, New Hampshire, they're still relevant.
yeah, but that's because like they have a government that's like just city councils and just like
Every
their lower house is 2,000
every
people or
young
something.
Republican's wet dream are New Hampshire Republican politicians.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
But it's just such a small state. There are
I remember when I considered myself a young Republican. Rest in peace.
Then you
asshole.
have like a sticker for it.
I don't think I never had a sticker. No.
I never really identified as Republican, even when I was younger. I always went with, I was like, I'm a libertarian.
Well,
That's,
I definitely qualified. I said I was a libertarian Republican.
that's how I
I
ran
still
with
I
it.
still have a libertarian streak in me. for
Or
sure.
I would tell Republicans I'm economically Republican, and I'd tell liberals that I was socially liberal.
I'm definitely not economic,
yeah.
but I would say that at points. But I remember it's like, oh yeah, New Hampshire. Hampshire's great. They don't care about social issues. They're so
Yeah,
much better
they're
than
fuck
all the
social
people in the
issues.
party. I hate.
They're the last bastion of those types of Republicans. They're just gone. You're not gonna see them except for I guess probably state politics in New York, like upstate New York. You're gonna still.
No.
Oh really?
No, upstate New York is really not all that different than other rural areas in the country.
Oh, okay.
It's still pretty damn conservative.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you don't really have that same religious tint, but you have a lot of Trumpist tint.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that, like
yeah,
picture
yeah.
Trumpists. Don't picture evangelicals.
Oh,
They
yeah,
certainly exist up there.
yeah.
Picture like the glorification of
Okay.
our
Of the great
of
Trump,
our
his best
institutions.
people.
All right.
I have the best people who I can never seem to name, except for Carl Icahn. Really fantastic.
Well, I mean, that is the best people. If you just want singular.
Carl Icahn.
Yeah,
I got the best person.
You want to try to move on to the
We could talk about Suicide Squad.
Yeah, we can talk about Suicide Squad. So
There's a lot of controversy. I've seen there was a petition for Suicide Squad fans that it got bad reviews, so there was a petition to remove the bad reviews off of Rotten
I
Tomatoes.
thought that the ban was to remove Rotten Tomatoes from existence.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was that one.
Yeah, I thought it was extreme. Yeah,
it
so,
was way more extreme than I was thinking.
so
That's pretty hilarious.
yeah, so I'll make the exposition very short. But based on what I actually was listening when I was in LA recently, there was this public radio has a whole segment on Hollywood, and they talked about this a bit, which is really interesting. A company made the trailer for Suicide Squad after they saw Deadpool and how successful it was, and tried to make it more humorous, and then that ended up doing well. And apparently, they hired that company to do a bunch of random re-edits or reshoots.
Wait. They tried to make a more humorous version of Deadpool.
No, more Suicide Squad.
They saw Deadpool and was like, "There's not enough jokes. We gotta have a."
Yes, that's
That's
what I meant to
great.
say. So they made a trailer that worked really well. A second trailer, I suppose the first trailer was darker, and so they did a bunch of quick reshoots and re-edited it in a way to try to come across as a little bit funnier. But from what I've heard from reviews, I haven't personally seen it,
Is
so
there
I can
theming
give it.
issues?
Is that there's continuity issues, tone issues. There's random scenes where it's like, what's going on? Apparently, the biggest problem is that they cut out the Joker, almost all the scenes, but like a very small amount, and so he's basically. And they really
you know what's
butchered
really
the big
funny
story
about
arc with that.
Is that there was so much news about the Joker's performance in this movie before the show came out. Like,
Jared Leto's method acting.
yeah, he was acting as a Joker on set when they weren't filming.
And
Which-
wait, so they cut out a lot of his scenes?
They cut it a lot. That's what I've been told.
That's
I can also
hilarious.
imagine maybe they just did that to spite him because having a guy act like the Joker on set 24/7.
No,
that
but
sounds
actors
really
do,
obnoxious.
actors do that all the time.
I hear the big
Yeah, but
issue.
you want to
That's
hang
the
out with the
best.
Joker 24/7? I
Do you want to
fucking hate that
You know
guy.
what Daniel Day-Lewis did? When Daniel Day-Lewis shot My Left Foot, Academy Award-winning film, he made everybody treat him for 3 months like he was a paralyzed guy confined to a wheelchair, only able to move his left foot. He made the staff carry him. He made the actors carry him.
I'd rather
from
hang out with
place
that
to
guy than
place.
the guy who acts like the Joker 24/7.
Yeah. There's enough staff on a big movie. You can pull that off. Joker, he's just gonna get a gun and start shooting people.
Hey, treat me like I'm a cripple. The joke guy walking around like the fucking Joker, this socio.
Yeah.
Well, he's more of a psychopath, right, than a sociopath.
Yeah, another big issue with this movie is that it did well in the box office. I hear enough that
Yeah.
it wasn't like it's like okay, we're gonna keep making these.
Or is there going to be another Suicide Squad?
That's gonna have to be way further down the line.
See, that's the thing I find really funny is like, as long as it's a lot of movies are commercial successes, but they're
Not good because
Yeah.
people like familiarity.
like Transformers. Transformers fucking sucks.
That's
but
why it
they
got
keep
4
making
movies.
They're making a fifth.
Oh
The
my
last
god,
one.
really?
Yes, really. I can't believe
It's like we should almost go see that just so we can talk about it.
I'm tempted to. But yeah, another issue is that the trailer for Justice League came out, and it was also more happy, and so there are people talking that
That doesn't
they're
seem
gonna
like it really
they're
fits.
gonna try
with
to make it
Justice
more
League.
more positive, you know.
I love Justice League.
Are they
TV
gonna
show.
feature the Flash a lot then? I would imagine.
Yes, but because they've decided to make
They killed the Flash in the cartoon.
they've decided to declare that the CW series, Arrow and the Flash, are in a different universe from the movies, so there's a different actor. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't see a problem with that.
You
Yeah,
need an explanation
but-
when you have a different actor sometimes.
yeah, but it's a popular show. I know this has like a cult following. That's what draws out people. That's how Deadpool got big. A lot of there were hardcore Deadpool fans that kind of hyped it on social
I
media.
remember
Yeah, it's like
yeah, so it helps.
using Facebook and memes is like a
Yeah,
strategy.
that's why they
companies
should do really
employ.
obscure comics. Marvel's legitimately talking about doing a Squirrel Girl movie, which
Yeah,
is like
I don't even think they can
yeah.
get that one hyped up.
Oh no, they're big Squirrel Girl fans. Do not insult
I'm not
them.
sure. I haven't. You know what, man? I don't think they could get other people hyped up for it though.
Yeah, that's
Like, some people hype me up for Deadpool. It's like, I can get down with Deadpool, like this caricature of making fun of other superhero type movies.
Deadpool was
Like,
legit though.
I got hyped up for that. Because I felt like Deadpool fans sold me on going to see Deadpool, but
yeah.
I don't think anyone could sell me on seeing Squirrel Girl.
We'll see.
I
not, though.
could have I didn't really see much on this on social media though. Maybe that's because I
For
started.
Suicide Squad?
But I think it's because I started hiding people, just because I hate people
Dude,
sharing
Suicide
memes.
Squad was all over the place.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
think I started hiding people, but I don't think Suicide Squad fans sold me as much as Deadpool fans.
No.
I think Deadpool fans sold me more than
The
Suicide.
thing is that Suicide Squad, in spite of its negative reviews, it's still staying.
You know
on
what?
Twitter.
The more I heard about it was more in the context of people bitching about Harley.
Oh,
Really?
I thought that was the
Oh
most
yeah, people
positive.
were bitching about Margot Robbie.
That's all I heard about it. It
Oh,
was
really?
like she was this non-sexual person in the comics, so
That's
it's doing women a disjustice
Is that
having her
really-
being sex. That's
is that
not
really-
true.
that's not true. Like
There's
I've
pe-
read the comics.
People
That's-
who read the comics don't think that, but people who try to pretend they read the comics like to portray that
I
they
guess they
really changed.
I guess
the
they're just
character.
thinking of the animated series.
I always read.
Yeah, you read the comics, so you know it's bullshit. Like,
Yeah, but
if you
the
heard
show
someone
is
say that, you'd be
true.
like, "What?"
That's,
Oh,
but I don't get how anybody could even claim to have that opinion. That's just flat out
I
not
thought
the case.
I thought there was a lot of positive the way that the actress did the role. I thought there was a lot of positive.
Well, there's nothing.
Well, it's
wrong
a vocal minority. Most feminists
Oh,
are.
But there's
It's
nothing.
like it's the anti-sex feminists.
Okay,
Oh.
like I haven't seen Suicide Squad, but I don't think there's any issue with women flaunting their bodies.
I don't think there's any
Anyway.
issue with anyone flaunting their bodies.
Exactly.
I think everyone should flaunt their bodies, unless they're like Chris Christie or someone.
Nah, Chris
Ugly.
Christie has the right to flaunt his body if he so chooses.
Yeah, if he wants to,
He can go Alex Jones on this thing.
The other I guess movie story is that one of us actually went to a theater and saw a movie.
Oh, that is true. I did go see Sausage Party.
Sausage Party. I was sad about. I actually never heard about that movie.
Have you not heard of Sausage Party?
Never heard
Okay,
of it.
it's a really fucked up version of Toy Story.
Really?
So
Oh, I think I saw. Is that the food movie?
yeah,
Yeah, the
all
food.
the food come to, or actually they are.
See, the
alive
name
in
made me
supermarket.
think you watched a frat party, like a party about a frat.
That
I mean, it could, but
I know what movie you're talking about. I saw that trailer.
yeah, and
I kind of like the concept.
it. You know what? It's a movie
We
that
would
when
be
you watch
taking
it,
on-
you'll laugh through it. I mean, there's nothing really gut busting. Like I wasn't in tears at any point during that movie, but it was a solid, like I think it was a solid, funny movie.
I'm gonna give it 5 out of 10.
I'm generally not that harsh. I'm going to 6.5.
I'm gonna give it but even no matter what I think about the movie after I watch it, I'm sticking with 5 out of 10.
all right.
Actually, I'm probably never gonna watch it.
I've
That's my
heard-
final.
But it's one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. It's definitely the weirdest major release I've ever seen.
Right, because I think the premise was they want to be taken home. It's like, yeah, we got bought, and then
But-
it's like, oh, we're gonna be eaten. That's the thing,
Well,
right?
here's the thing.
They
They
have a
think of they
revolution.
think of the humans as gods, but as it turns out, the
They're
people.
evil gods.
Well, no. There's a group of foods that previously they all knew that they were going to their death,
I'm going 10 out of 10.
but they created a creation myth and said
going
that they
10
were
out of 10.
gods.
I don't care how good the movie is.
It actually,
I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
It actually gets pretty existential, and there are arguments in the movie that's like arguments for agnosticism or atheism.
I'm going.
Like
10
there,
out
like
of
there's
10.
actually there's like parts of the movie that are like, why are you insulting my beliefs? I feel these beliefs. I want to keep feeling them. So I'm butchering the line, but it's a lot more. Eloquent
I
than
understand
say it.
because I've heard that paradise many times.
But it's pretty like it's surprisingly more deep than you'd expect. But there is
They
a
should
lot
make
of
an even
things.
darker version of this movie.
I don't really think you can get darker.
Actually, that reminds me of a study that they've done on monkeys. You know, they do tons of studies on monkeys. But basically, they had 6 monkeys, and if one went down to go get the banana, they'd spray all of them with cold water. And so eventually what happened was that if a monkey went down to go get the banana, they would beat that monkey up because none of them wanted to be sprayed with cold water. And then they stopped spraying them with water at some point, but they conditioned the response, and they took one monkey out. Well, they didn't stop yet. And then they took one monkey out. They sprayed him with water. They if he went down before he could go down, they'd beat him up. So there's no water spraying, and they repeated this process until there was 6 new monkeys. And if a monkey went down there, even though there was going to be no water being sprayed at him, they'd beat that monkey up. But none of the monkeys knew why they were beating that monkey up.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
They were just beating up. They're like everyone did it before us.
Do you know? I'm definitely gonna look that up.
I read it a long time ago, but I was like,
that's
big.
really great.
Production-wise, I don't know who made Sausage Party, but I know they made it with a very low budget. I hear.
Sausage Party.
Yeah, so I think the fact they were able to make an R-rated animated
It's
CGI
also
comedy
it's
for
probably
the budget that it was made at, I hear
it's
pretty
definitely
impressive.
the raunchiest cartoon I've ever seen.
It's by Greg Tiernan.
Okay.
Tiernan.
You go down a little.
Conrad Vernon.
Who was the
Yeah, here.
animation?
I'm looking.
Here, go down.
Production.
Could you go up to the budget
Budget. Where's budget?
right there?
Oh wow, only 19 million.
Yeah.
That's like Studio Ghibli movie level.
I couldn't even feed
impressive.
my kids with that shit.
What?
That's chump change.
Okay.
Oh, the
Are you like?
what NBA player said that?
Spruill.
Yeah, Spreewell said that.
He was like, I need more money than 19 million.
I gotta feed my family.
Yeah.
No, but
The content worried most film studios, and most did not pick it up.
Yeah.
Noting that the film came from an innocent place, Rogan stated, "What would it be like if our food had feelings?
Oh wow.
We
So
very
you
quickly
totally
realized that
happened.
That it would be fucked up." Goldberg revealed the project to IndieWire in July 2010, stating it was a top secret super project.
Yeah, I remember people said it was secret, but they didn't announce that it was animated for a while, which is kind of an interesting attempt to market it. I think Sony helped it a lot of it. 'Cause
interesting.
I know Rogan said in an interview they helped him out.
It's definitely I did not know it was in production 6 years ago, but
Toy Story should have ended in the furnace.
wow,
I don't know if I
was-
can handle that.
That would have been a great way to end it, man.
so realistic.
That's too realistic.
Like, they were all hugging each other. They're all about to die. They accepted their fate. It would have been a great way to end it.
Yeah, man.
That's
But it's a cartoon.
it's a kids movie, man.
Hey, man, cartoons can get dark.
Can
Yeah,
you,
but it's-
can you imagine what the reviews for Toy Story would be like? If that
Toy Story
It'd be the
3,
most
that would have
divisive
got
movie.
10 out of 10.
That would have been the most divisive movie ever.
It would have been designed, like,
Dude,
yeah, maybe for parents.
Would our good
But,
friend,
like, legitimate film critics, man, that movie would have been remembered.
Our
And-
would our good friend Jared put that in his top 10?
No, he only watches old movies.
No, he's seen new
No,
stuff.
he's getting into 2010
He's getting into
stuff.
yeah, he's just getting into 2010.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Does he watch movies, like, 5 years behind?
No, he's seen stuff pretty recent. He's out in Nebraska.
Yeah, he's on Nebraska. You see Dallas Buyers Club too.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was trying to see movies that he had on DVD. Was the
You know what? Movies kind of suck. I mean, TV shows are just better because you can just get into that.
Prestige TV
You can-
shows are. Like
I mean,
Breaking
just
Bad.
in general, though, you can get invested in the characters. They can flesh out multiple people. They can develop multiple
there's-
strings of plots. In movies, you have 2 hours to learn everything.
There's talks like this. A lot of actors now prefer playing TV characters because they could get into the roles more. Like people, like
It's just a better experience.
Bryan Cranston when he played Walter White. Like
It's a better experience.
Yeah.
In movies, you only have 2 hours. You have 2 hours to develop a character, make you care, and then resolve their thing. Unless you still have to resolve it, even if you plan on making a sequel.
yeah,
so I haven't seen a movie in a while. I don't watch a huge amount of TV, but I tend to see movie as more like less risk, less reward.
Yeah.
Like you don't like I can sit through 2 hours and say whether or not I liked it or not. If I sit through 2 hours of a TV show, people be like, "Oh, you need to watch the full first season first."
Yeah, I couldn't, like,
you
I
need to
couldn't
watch,
sit
you need to
down.
watch about 5 episodes of BoJack before you get into it.
I
Yeah.
couldn't watch all of the Lord of the Ring movies in one sitting, but I
I've done
sat
that.
down and rewatched season 4 with my friend Corey, just because he hadn't watched it yet, and I wanted him to watch it. And we just did that for 10 hours. It's so much easier to do for a TV
Season
show.
4 of what?
Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
Each episode's an hour, right? So we just watched the
Yeah.
whole season, took up the entire day. We had like 100,000 licorice. Well, I had 100,000 licorice. Corey maybe had like 5 or 6.
Wow.
Corey doesn't eat, does he?
Corey eats, just, not as frequently as me.
Yeah. It's gonna get pretty interesting. The Emmys actually nominations came out recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Netflix
Good
came in
shit.
third.
Nice.
That's a good development, actually.
Actually, here's a really funny one. So I don't like them for some
Oh,
of their
they
stuff.
have the Arrested Development season coming up.
Yeah,
Does that
I mean
come out
that's.
this year or next year?
I think it has to be next year. They still are like hush hush. Only one person that really is blabbing about it's Will Arnett, but he says all
The funny
kinds of
thing
random
is,
stuff.
Will Arnett, after watching BoJack Horseman, watching Will Arnett in Arrested Development's even going to be. It just makes it even
It's
better.
gonna be weird. Yeah, it's gonna be trippy. The big deal though was so this YouTube series I follow called Screen Junkies. They make a bunch of really stupid stuff. I'm not a big fan of. Sorry guys. They make Honest Trailer, which is kind of like these
I've seen Honest Trailers.
Honest
Oh,
Trailer.
I like Honest Trailers.
That's an Emmy-nominated show.
Really?
What?
Yes, Honest Trailer got an Emmy. So
I
they
feel
made
like they're being purposely
so,
dishonest in their honest trailers, though. You know? I see some of those honest trailers, like, that's a bastardization of
I
what's
love
actually
the
going on.
Honest Trailer for Wolf of Wall Street.
They made an Honest Trailer for all the Emmys, and they did 10. They gave their own little blurbs on 10 movies nominated for an Emmy, and how they and then they mentioned, hey, we mentioned you guys, vote for us. They actually, when I was in LA, this is crazy. They're actually, and it's mentioned in BoJack Horseman. There are actually signs for Amazon Prime shows that were Emmy nominated, and it's a link. So if you're an Emmy voter, you can watch it for free because a lot of Emmy voters don't have Amazon Prime yet. And so, for your consideration, please watch our show. And it'd be like
shit.
the most stupidest places for an ad. There was an ad for Man in a High Castle in the middle of Koreatown, and it was for the Japanese side. And it's like, oh, this is a show where the Japanese probably destroyed Korea.
I love The Man in the High Castle.
Yeah.
Underrated show.
And then
There are just too many good
oh,
TV
and then
shows.
there was a transparent ad next to a surgery center, like a plastic surgery center,
That's
which is a show about a transgender.
pretty funny.
Yeah, so it's just so random, and they were all over. I just need BoJack Horseman to get a Golden Globe like it deserves.
That would be really funny.
Yeah, there's a joke. In the
I think
show.
animated shows have really picked up in
Quality,
prestige lately.
Oh, yeah.
too. I feel like people are
BoJack.
starting to respect it more as an art now.
I think it's because
I mean, Rick and Morty will probably never get a nomination, but fantastic show.
I think that the big deal is because of all the major studios getting animated studios now. A lot of these major actors can start doing more voice acting stuff. Alison Brie does a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of the people who do BoJack Horseman are in other stuff.
Sorry, Hollywood Crush.
That's it. You just wanted to sigh her name. You weren't gonna add any information.
I just said she was my Hollywood Crush, man.
I still find it really funny. Just all of the way all the characters are like thinking. Like I haven't really seen much of Breaking Bad, but just the idea of him doing Todd.
Wait, you've never seen Breaking Bad?
You didn't know that? I haven't seen a lot of shows.
What is wrong with you?
I don't have that much time. That's a lot of hours I gotta
If you
sit.
can find the time, you should watch Breaking Bad.
That's like
If you can find the time.
Yeah, but then
I think
people are
that's-
like, I
that's
haven't seen Game of
essential.
Thrones, and then people are like, well, now you gotta watch Game of Thrones.
No, well, Breaking Bad is better than Game of Thrones.
I would say so. I'd say Breaking Bad is also, it's easier to focus on because it's more of a character study.
Game of Thrones is a great show. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of,
He's a book reader, everyone. Of course, he's gonna trash the show.
I'm not going to trash the show. I like the show,
It's just-
although
it's not as good as
it
the book.
deviate from the books. Stannis is still alive in the books, but
Some of us haven't finished reading the books yet.
Yeah, you spoiler alert!
I have the books. I read the first one. I haven't got around to the other ones yet.
I don't care.
And you
You're a
just
show watcher.
spoiled that.
You're a show watcher. Anyway,
So you can you can
anyway,
just
I think
disregard
I
everything
think
Phil
break.
say.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I don't think
overall.
Game of Thrones has
Stannis
some
and Madness.
fucked up writing that doesn't have to do with the fact that it's an adaptation from the book. I just mean as standalone in general.
Right.
That elevate Breaking Bad and certain other shows over it, like Mad Men. But Game of Thrones is very enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
I
lot
watch
of
it
there's a
every
lot
Sunday
of
when it's
prestige TV shows I
Mad
haven't
Men was
seen.
kind of boring.
I haven't seen
on.
the
So Mad Men's great.
I haven't seen The
Mad Men.
Sopranos.
It was like I mean the issues with Bad Men just became they were it started off great and then
Yeah, I've only seen like a couple episodes of Mad Men. I've only seen like I haven't seen anything The Sopranos. There's all kinds of shows I haven't seen.
Sopranos is great.
Yeah.
Sopranos is fantastic.
just
I
became
think the
redundant.
best.
Mad Men had redundancy issues.
They resolved it with the last season, I think. But I still think Mad Men as a whole is better than Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones has some pretty inexcusable writing, like what the fuck moments. Like
The rape
the entire
thing,
Dorne arc is bullshit.
the Dorne arc does take away a lot. I'd agree with that. The Dorne arc was definitely not Game of Thrones' best work.
Yeah.
I think Mad Men have more consistent problems throughout the show though than any specific arc.
Well, what specific problems do you think?
It's boring.
See,
I mean, the main character is boring. It's just like he's
No, I think Dawn is a fascinating character.
I mean, what's his thing? His thing was he came back from war, he stole an identity, but there's not much.
No,
Depth
dude,
to him.
it's yeah, there is.
He's just a,
it's
he's a
his.
boring dude.
No, dude, it's his
Describe
kind of.
Dom.
It's his.
Describe him. Give me a personality.
Yeah, I have no idea who this is. Describe him to me.
Can you
Don
give him
Draper?
a person? Yeah, give him a personality.
Oh, Don Draper? I thought you were talking about a Game of Thrones character.
Don Draper is a man lost in the world he is in, but wanting status of some sort. He wants to fulfill what he sees.
Well, describe his personality, not his ambition.
Yeah, what would happen if I met him? What's his personality?
Can
Like,
you
in
give him
person?
a personality? Because I'm having a hard time giving him a personality.
Shark. Yeah.
That's not really. That's not like if you if ask someone about Han Solo, you could describe Han Solo suave,
I can
smooth
describe
talker.
Don
But-
Draper is a suave, smooth talker.
Well, you
He's
can,
an ambitious man. He, Don, smooth talker, ambitious man, womanizer. He is very, very conflicted, and also at the same time, in many cases, it is the fact that he can't open up to other people that makes his character, at least in my opinion.
I think it's more that he just has no personality and has.
Well, that's just like your
And he
opinion.
can't open up because he doesn't have any feelings.
That's your opinion. That's not fact, Josh.
he
You're
can't. Open,
stating your opinion like it's fact when it's not.
this is a boring show.
This is
That's
The
your
plot
opinion.
issues. There's like the plot doesn't really go anywhere ever. I mean,
yeah. The plot never goes anywhere.
Dude, Trevor, you've
Is-
never seen the
I
fucking
wasn't.
show.
I'm not talking about Mad Men.
Trevor's on my side.
I'm
man.
not
I
talking
think I
about Mad
won
Men.
this.
No.
I was breaking the fourth wall.
Shut up, Trevor. You're dead to me.
I'm not dead. What are we talking about? Shows I don't watch.
They had a lot of useless characters that no one cared about. Although that one dude, I forgot his name now. He was pretty good. The one that banged the
Sterling?
secretary. Yeah.
Roger Sterling?
hmm
Sterling's probably my favorite character on the
He's.
show.
I think he's the best character on the show. And Dom was a dick to him.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, he
very.
was.
I'm not very
But
good.
Don was a dick to everybody in the show.
Yeah, I have a hard
Don
time.
was an
Getting,
asshole character.
yeah, I've
But
just
he's
had
still a
a.
compelling character.
I've just had a hard time getting into dramas on television. I don't
Well,
know
it just
why.
kind of reminded me
It's
of
kind of been
you know
my issue.
the character you can easily project onto and give them a personality, like John Shepard in Mass Effect, because you're guiding the character.
I
It's
never
just-
felt like I could project my personality onto Don.
Well, I'm thinking more like in the vein of like Bruce Wayne or John Shepard, or they're all the same kind of character arc, where they're stoic, so you don't really have to do much, and like their personality is that they can't open up, so you don't really have to develop their emotions that much because their emotions are that
But
they have a hard
Don
time opening
has
up.
emotions.
Yeah, he just doesn't open up.
But
And so you
Shepard
really can't
is
see it.
literally a cartoon character.
Not, I'm talking from a storytelling perspective. It's easy to imagine their emotions because they have a hard time opening up. It's really lazy.
but you can see what their whatever. It's a
Yeah, you can see
storytelling
it
element.
easily because you can project onto it.
You're not. The writers are telling you essentially how you should interpret their emotions.
I don't think so. I don't
Yeah,
think
they
that
are.
impression.
You go anywhere on there. You go to any of the interviews with the people afterward. They'll talk about how they think that you should.
I subscribe to the author's dead theory. I don't really care what the
theory is
author.
that?
Well, basically, it doesn't matter what the author thinks. Once it's written, then you can interpret it however you want.
So do you think you can do that with?
I think you can do that with everything.
The
universe is created. The lines are down. Doesn't matter what the author thinks now.
Yeah,
I think that's bullshit. But whatever, that's fine.
Really.
Yeah. When authors have gone out of their way, I take author as word of God.
I don't trust the authors. Are stupid.
Yeah.
They're like the worst, man.
Yeah, authors, fuck them.
Because then they'll just say random shit post fact.
Yeah, well,
I actually meant to do this really genius thing.
I don't disagree that they could ruin my conception of the show, but it's their conception of their work that I consider to be true.
Well, the post-mortem.
When
you can't trust them after the post-mortem.
When J.K. Rowling said that, shit, I really shouldn't have put Ron and Hermione together. I fucked up doing that. I take that as word.
But it already happened.
It already happened, but that's her opinion.
It doesn't matter what her opinion is. Even she probably subscribes to the author's dead theory with that opinion.
Okay, then what do you think about the fact that if we're talking about, spoiler alert, Harry Potter Cursed Child?
Wait, what? I haven't finished the books yet, man. I'm on this first. I finished the first one recently, but I haven't got. Just spoiled.
You're reading all of them right now? Like you're on Chamber of Secrets?
No, I finished the first one, so whatever the second one's called, I'm gonna start.
Chamber of Secrets.
Okay, well I haven't started that.
You've never read Harry Potter?
I read the first one.
When?
A year and a half ago.
Oh, so.
Wait, so
I'll get to it.
So I got a question. Do you really not know how Harry Potter ends?
No.
Actually,
what the fuck? Where have you been for 10 years?
I actually have to think what happens at the end of the seventh book.
I know Dumbledore dies.
I
know Dumbledore dies.
Yeah.
I actually have to think what happens in the seventh book. Like, I actually have to remember it. I like the first 5 books a lot, and then for some weird reason, I couldn't get as much behind the last 2.
My opinion on the Harry Potter series is I love the first 2 because they're a lot different stories. The third one's pretty good too. The 4th and 5th one are really, they have the highest points, but a lot of shit that's just not necessary.
So I think you have to subscribe to the author's theory if they're saying an author writes a character that's a lot like him, and the author's delusional, so the character is also delusional, right? But he'll say the character's not delusional. That this character is straight. This character knows what he's talking about, what he's thinking, but that character doesn't, and you can see it in the writing. But the author is also that delusional. So I think you have to subscribe to the author's theory.
This is too deep. I think we need to make a U-turn and go back to whatever we were talking about.
This is what we were talking about. Talking about shows, characters. I'm tired of the Bruce Wayne, John Shepard, Don Draper type characters that their characters are they have a troubled past. They have a hard time opening up.
I think
and their sophistication is that
I think that you're lumping Don Draper in with Bruce Wayne's characters.
I can't believe you just did great at cartoon character, like it's not a storytelling art.
I think that it's a storytelling art, but I think that there's limitations to what you actually can do with Shepard.
Yeah,
I'm really curious what you think about BoJack then, because technically speaking,
never watched it.
He's a person who can't show his emotions. Well, he can, just not all of them.
Is he stoic, or is he just like...
No, he's not stoic at all.
So, I mean, that's different than what I'm lumping him in.
Oh, okay.
I guess there's only so many character archetypes, so I really can't... I guess that's not, like, a thing, but it just seems like the laziest way to create
But the thing about Bruce Wayne movies is, like, most of them are essentially for the plot and for the action. Not necessarily... You're not trying to get a great insight into Bruce Wayne. Well, I mean, or not Bruce Wayne, I mean, John Wayne, sorry, not Bruce Wayne. But, yeah. When I watched Mad Men, I enjoyed seeing Don's descent through the 7 seasons, and essentially from having it all to actually accelerating his way up the corporate ladder, but losing essentially more and more of what very thin veneer of humanity he actually had.
He didn't have any to start with, in my opinion. Yeah, a trophy wife.
Yeah,
That was like at the
but
start.
he had children.
He didn't even give a shit that like she had like this weird medical issue. He didn't even give a shit at all. He's like, oh.
But seeing him lose all of that anyway, I felt was an interesting story.
The only time he had humanity was during flashbacks, during the war, and then like the rest is just stoic Dom Draper and being awesome at advertising. Sometimes he'd be sad, man,
I enjoyed it.
like that Who song.
I think we've hit the end of the road.
Yeah, I think that was a good one. We'll be back on next Thursday because he'll be in San Diego living the high life.
Yeah.
A San Diegoan. And
For 2 days.
then we're going to try to start pumping them out every Thursday and Saturday. So thanks for watching, guys. And this is the end of the podcast. Thanks for tuning into the diner.
Oh.